player. So here I'm hoping for a speedy recovery for him. It's going to be a shorter recovery, not being Tommy John, where he still has to go through the rehab and getting back in, in shape with his arm, movements, mechanics, and everything. But he's not going to, have such of a recovery time due to that. And hopefully it'll just be one season, down for a year, and we'll see him back next spring.
Yeah, just hope and pray we see Paxton back here in Peoria, Arizona for the Seattle Mariners.
Yes.
We can see him in spring training come next season for Seattle.
Definitely. Enough MLB, as much as I hate to say, enough baseball.
I know you hate to wrap it. You don't want to wrap it up, do you?
No, I can just keep talking about that. But let's go ahead and talk a little bit of basketball, Ed. How do you feel about that?
Absolutely. I'm excited. I was hoping our brother PLR would join us to talk some basketball. This would be the perfect time for him to join us.
I know. So I know he said he will try and join us here shortly. So hopefully
Joanna,
we'll pick perfect timing to do so.
He is a championship head coach. He doesn't have time for us anymore. He took his kids to a championship. He doesn't have time for us little people anymore.
I know he's a big time guy now. So you're hearing that, PLR? You hear that, PLR? So come on and defend yourself.
Oh goodness.
So let's go ahead and kick off some NBA talk, Ed. And let's go ahead and lead it off with Steph Curry. He has passed Wilt Chamberlain, legendary guy here that we're talking about. Golden State
legend
Warriors,
passes another, right?
Right. Golden State Warriors all-time scoring record. This happened Monday night against the Denver Nuggets, passing the mark of 17,783 points in a win over the Nuggets. So can you believe that Steve Curry is having a hard time coming to terms with this achievement?
He doesn't get caught up in all of the accolades and all everything that surrounds Steph Curry being an NBA champion and everything he's done in his career. And now that he passes Wilt to become the Warriors all-time scoring record, and he did it in great fashion. He scored 21 points in that first quarter against Denver, Joanna. I mean, he just poured it on in the first 12 minutes of basketball, and he just passed Wilt so effortlessly like that. And he ended up with 53 that night.
Can you believe that?
Yes. Steph Curry, I can believe that. This man can get 53 and a quarter if he wanted to. If he really wanted to just go off on, he could.
He really, really could. I do not doubt that at all.
But that is great. I mean, he's won the MVP title twice. He's won 3 NBA championships. Now he's passed Wilt as the Golden State Warriors all-time leading scorer. I mean, there's not much left that Steph can do in his career. He's already cemented himself as a Hall of Famer, and he's revolutionized the way that shooting goes in the National Basketball Association. Before Steph came in, did we see many guys shoot from as far away as he shoots now? Did you did you remember the All-Star game when it was him and Dame Lillard? They were shooting from half court during the basketball game. It was unbelievable. They were shooting it like it was a regular jump shot. They're shooting from half court and they're making it. And Steph Curry wins the 3-point shooting contest in a great game. I mean, the man is unbelievable, and he is such a joy to watch. And when he's hurt and he's injured, it really affects the Warriors and it affects the game of basketball because Steph is not out there doing his thing. The game of basketball is not as exciting when Steph Curry is not on the court for the Warriors.
It isn't. But yes, he has definitely revolutionized the game of basketball, has changed it so much.
Absolutely.
In a good way, definitely. And he still has so much to do. Can you even believe how much more he has left to play? He's
already been in the league for 12 years, Joe. Can 12 years? He came in the league in 2009.
He's not retiring anytime soon.
No. He stays healthy. He could play a lot more years, especially when Klay Thompson returns for the Warriors.
Right.
That's just going to make him that much better.
So do you think he's going to spend his entire or the rest of his career with the Warriors still?
Yes. I don't see Steph Curry as a guy that would leave the Warriors. He is a one organization guy. He'll stay in Golden State for his entire career. And I don't think Steve Kerr would let him leave Golden State. Oh my goodness.
I think Steve Kerr and Steph Curry will go ahead and go out together. If one, if Kerr leaves, Curry probably will be, that's what we probably hang up his his shoes, his basketball shoes.
And that's when the upper management from the Golden State Warriors comes down and says, okay, Steve and Steph, you guys aren't going nowhere. Tell us what you want money wise or ownership wise or whatever stake you want in the Golden State Warriors. We'll give it to you. You cannot leave San Francisco. We need you that much. And that 53-point game was the third 50-point game of the season for Steph Curry. Just unbelievable. 7-time All-Star. We mentioned the other accolades, championships and MVP awards for Steph. What an incredible career he's had in a dozen years with the Warriors.
There's still so much to go.
He hasn't even hit his stride yet, and that's scary.
Mm-hmm. But you know who else isn't stopping? The Phoenix Suns.
Oh, no.
They are hot. They're number 1 seed. So they have also won 11 of their past 13 games, Ed. They're trying to go ahead and go past the LA Lakers. So the Lakers have been having some stumbles and struggles along the way. So it seems like they're pretty much getting themselves back into shape. How do we see this Wild West showdown going down? Because now it's playoff, contention. It's trying to get a spot in there. So it's going to get even hotter and heavier.
It is. Well, you know who can answer that question? Let's bring in brother PLR. He joins us right now. I think he heard you. Perfect timing.
What's up? We were talking about the White Sox?
No, we did baseball already.
We're talking hoops.
Look at the lower third. What does the lower third say, bro?
Well, I didn't know if you said perfect timing, so I thought you were bringing back up the good guys.
No, unfortunately,
the good guys are the team we're talking about. We are talking about the good guys in the NBA.
We're talking about the Bulls?
No, the Suns.
No.
Oh, the real good guys.
The real good guys.
The real good guys. Dude, so they are number 1 on the NBA.com power rankings. They're rolling. We saw them make history the other night against Houston. They made 25 3-pointers. They made 12 in the second quarter, an NBA record for the most 3-pointers in a quarter. And they just continue to keep rolling. They've got the Miami Heat in town tonight, which should be a really good contest with the Eastern Conference champs. And Paul, from your perch as the NBA analyst.
I haven't watched the Suns in like about a month. My heroes, okay?
What?
No, I'm just kidding. The Suns are a really, 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 really good team. They've been playing well. I don't like power rankings, to be honest with you. I just think they're a really good team in the West that is definitely going to be a top 4 seed coming out. 1 or 2, I think when you get into those matchups later, then you kind of try to get yourself situated. But for a team that hasn't been in the playoffs, I think since, what year are we in? 2010? 2010,
yes.
Look, get in and let everything take care of itself at that point. Utah is going to go in as the number 1 seed unless something just completely collapses. The Lakers will be getting back within the next month. They should have LeBron and AD back. Denver, look for them to probably take a little bit of a stumble. Jamal Murray tore his ACL last night. So they have no point guard whatsoever. Sad because that young kid can play.
Yes, he can.
And then when you look at the rest of the West, the Suns are kind of nestled in that 2-3 spot, I think, at worst. And then let's see what happens, because when you look at some of these other teams, and I'll go with the Lakers and the Clippers. The Clippers, I think, right now are the number 3 seed. But when you look at the Lakers and the Clippers, they have something the Suns and the Jazz don't have. They have guys that have won rings, and they have guys that have advanced and won MVPs of NBA finals. Obviously Kawhi with when he was with Toronto, and then LeBron for here in Cleveland and Miami and everything else. And the one thing about the playoffs that I love and that separates the NBA from every other sport, usually you got to have a superstar and you have to have failed. And when you look back, no one ever wins an NBA title without failing once. And as good as it is for the Suns to be so good now, and I think they are, and I think they're very well coached. And you have Chris Paul, and you have Devin Booker, and you have some really good pieces like Jay Crowder, who was in the finals last year. It's a difference when your star hasn't failed yet. So I'm anxious to see what happens when they have to close out a series. Beating a team in a regular season, it's not easy, as Monty says. It's the hardest thing in the world. But closing out a playoff series, boy, that's tough. And I think they'll be fine in the first round. It's when they get to that second round. I think that's what's going to make a difference.
So let me ask you this before we move on to our next topic here. What do the Suns have to do in order to be able to achieve that, closing out a series and moving into a playoff?
Get in a series and close it out. It's like the only thing you can do to prepare for it is to do it. You know what I mean? It's one of those things. What can I do to prepare myself? use a baseball analogy. What is it going to feel like when I stand in that batter's box and get hit by a pitch? You'll find out when you stand in the batter's box and get hit by a pitch. I mean, there's no way to prepare yourself for it until you actually do it. The one thing they have on their side, though, even though they got a bunch of young guys and stuff like that, is they have a coach that's been to the finals. They have Jay Crowder, who's played in the finals. They have a GM that can give his expertise from playing in finals and winning finals. So that'll help a lot, but it's hard. I mean, when you look back at the Golden State Warriors, they won Steve Kerr's first year, but that team had failed twice with that same cast 2 years before. So it makes a little bit of a difference. I'm hoping the Suns don't have to go through that, but the NFL and baseball are really the only sports that you go worst to first. That doesn't happen in basketball. It's just not how it works.
You're right. You have to get in there. You have to get into the big dance, the second season, and then see where you are as an organization. But still, 38-15, a game and a half behind the Utah Jazz. Great regular season, but all that does not matter once everything is seeded and you get into those playoffs. It's a whole totally different ball game, PLR and Joe, once you get into that second season, because everything else you've done in the regular season, that goes out the window. Everything is 0-0, and you got to build this thing all over again if you're going to make a run toward a world championship.
But you know what? Give them credit, because this team did what a lot of teams can't do. They built on their success from the following year. They closed out the bubble being perfect, and it's not a team. These are not, I keep saying it, the SOS. They're not the same old Suns. It's just not who they are. So they were able to build on it, and they built on it. Look at how they built on it. They bring in Chris Paul. Mikal Bridges' game gets better. Just by bringing in Chris Paul, Aiden's game gets better. You go out and get a mentally tough Jay Crowder, who's just that mentally tough dude that you need. And then you look at their bench with Cam Johnson and Javon Carter, and those guys just keep getting better. Cam coming off the bench, it's just they're getting better every single game, and they're connected. They play as one. There's no jealousy. Look, when the Suns made that trade for Chris Paul and Abdul Nader was in there, I know both of you probably were like, "Who is that Abdul Nader?" Nader. That's that guy that tests all the products, right? Nobody knew. I mean, the casual fan did not know Abdul Nader. And even there were stretches, he hasn't played in 12 games due to injury, but there were stretches during the year where he came in 3 or 4 games and other people were out. You wouldn't have even known that he barely played. He just plugged right in and played. So this team is very well put together, very well connected. Everyone knows what they are expected to do, and they just go out there and do their job. And they hate to lose it. I'll give you one thing that's impressive. I don't remember the last time they lost 2 games in a row.
Me neither.
Don't jinx it.
I don't think it's. I know it hasn't been since the All-Star break.
No, it's nothing to jinx. Listen, I don't believe in jinxes when you're good. When you're good, you're just good. When you do that jinxing, that means you're lucky. Teams that are lucky are like, the Wizards. They get lucky. But the Suns are just a good basketball team, and they're centered. And Monty said, when did he say that? Probably about a month ago, I want to say. He said, this team has bad losers. And then he said, I guess they call them sore losers. They don't want to lose twice. And when you're on a Zoom call with them after a game that they lost, no one's in a good mood. And I'm not saying that they used to be, but 3 years ago, after a loss in the locker room, they were just like, yeah, we played hard. We put it's not like that anymore. It's like
it's different vibe.
We expected to win tonight. We didn't. We need to tighten up. It's just, it's different. The culture is different.
It is so different. And it starts from the top where owner Robert Sarver kind of takes a step back. He lets James Jones, the general manager, he lets Monty Williams, let those two men run the show. He signs the paychecks. The players do their jobs. And then the results speak for themselves. Number 2 in the Western Conference, one of the best records in the NBA. And as you mentioned, Paul, they don't want to lose. This is a team that will not accept defeat.
Nope.
Yes, not at all.
Unlike the Cubs. No one hits over 200. Oh, did I just get that in? I'm sorry. They suck.
I was waiting when something like that was going to come out. Sorry. But speaking about accomplishments, let's talk a little bit about Julian Edelman. He has announced his retirement. He will not be playing. He's gone out as a Patriot, a 3-time champ, 7th-round pick, possible Hall of Famer. Will he be back? Gronk says that he probably may be back and his retirement may not last long.
Oh, Julian's an absolute Hall of Famer. No question. Paul, no. Iffy? he's a Hall of Famer in my book. Absolutely.
I know we were talking about these doggone Patriots with Johanna.
Hey, I'm a Julian Edelman fan. Can you can you blame me for bringing him into the conversation?
Okay. I'm going to treat him like Eli Manning. He will be a Hall of Famer. He'll get in. But I'm going to ask you this question the same way I asked about Eli. At what point in time in his career did you say, wow, Julian Edelman is one of the top 3 receivers in the game? What year did you say he's one of the top 3 this year? He's one of the top 5 this year?
But, Paul, you don't have to be a top 3 receiver to be a Hall